Welcome back to HD Old Coins 51. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of old HD coins, specifically the HD Old Coins 51 collection. These coins hold incredible history, unique designs, and stories from the past that every collector or enthusiast will want to hear. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collection journey, this video will explore the hidden details and value of these treasures. So grab a seat and let's uncover the history behind these remarkable coins together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more rare coin discoveries. Top 1. The story of the 1894 S. Barber dime begins in a period of great transformation in the United States. It was a time when industry and innovation were reshaping the nation, while the old ways of life clung stubbornly to the edges of modernity. Coins were a vital part of everyday transactions, the silent witnesses to millions of lives passing through an era of profound change. Yet among the countless dimes minted in this period, there exists one that has ascended to almost mythical status, the 1894 S. Barber dime. Its tale is as enigmatic as it is captivating. Struck at the San Francisco Mint in the year 1894, this dime is not remarkable for its appearance but for its scarcity. Designed by Charles E. Barber, chief engraver of the United States Mint, the coin features Lady Liberty on the obverse, her stern profile encircled by the word Liberty and a crown of laurel leaves. On the reverse, a delicate wreath frames the words "one dime," underscoring the simplicity and elegance of the design. At first glance, it appears to be just another Barber dime, a coin that was in circulation across the United States. But what sets the 1894 S apart is its startling rarity. Only 24 of these dimes were minted, and even that number remains shrouded in mystery. The reasons for this extremely limited production are debated to this day. Some speculate that the coins were created as special gifts for bankers or influential figures. Others suggest a more mundane explanation, claiming the small mintage was simply an effort to balance accounting books at the San Francisco Mint. Whatever the reason, the result was the creation of a coin destined to become one of the most legendary pieces in numismatic history. At the time of its minting, the 1894 S. Barber dime might have been little more than a curiosity. Most Americans, busy with their daily lives, were unaware of the coin's existence. It was a practical object meant for commerce, not an object of fascination. Yet fate had a different plan for this humble piece of silver. Over the years, as the coin disappeared from circulation, its legend began to grow. Stories emerged about the few surviving examples, each one steeped in intrigue. One of the most famous tales involves Hallie Daggett, the daughter of the San Francisco Mint superintendent. According to legend, her father gifted her 3 of these dimes, instructing her to keep them as a treasure. But like many children, Hallie saw the coins as spending money. She reportedly used one of them to buy ice cream, an act that seems almost surreal today when you consider the coin's present value. If true, this anecdote is a poignant reminder of how easily history can slip through our fingers, transformed into the ordinary moments of life. Today, only 9 examples of the 1894 S. Barber dime are known to exist. Each one is a masterpiece of survival, a testament to the enduring allure of rarity. These coins have become trophies for collectors, commanding astronomical sums at auction. In 2007, one of these dimes sold for $1.9 million. In 2016, another example fetched $2 million. The most recent sale of an 1894 S. Barber dime reached an astounding $2.4 million, highlighting its status as one of the most sought-after coins in the world. But beyond its monetary value, the 1894 S. Barber dime represents something far more profound. It is a tangible link to the past, a piece of history that has defied the odds to survive into the modern age. Its journey from a mint in San Francisco to the collections of the world's most dedicated numismatists is a story of chance, determination, and the enduring human fascination with the rare and the extraordinary. As we reflect on the legacy of this remarkable coin, it's worth considering the broader context in which it was created. The 1890s were a time of rapid change for the United States. The country was recovering from the Panic of 1893, a severe economic depression that had shaken the foundations of commerce and industry. In this environment, even the minting of coins took on a new significance. Every piece of currency was a symbol of stability and trust, a reassurance that the nation's economy would endure. For collectors, owning an 1894 Barber dime is about more than possessing a rare coin. It's about connecting to a story that spans more than a century, a story of craftsmanship, mystery, and enduring value. Each surviving example of the coin carries with it the echoes of the past, a reminder of the hands it has passed through and the journeys it has taken. From dusty attics to high-profile auctions, these dimes have traversed time and space, captivating all who encounter them. Imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. The weight of its history would be almost palpable. You'd wonder about the lives it touched, the transactions it facilitated, and the decisions that led to its survival. It's a humbling experience, a reminder of how objects can transcend their original purpose to become icons of culture and history. The 1894 Barber dime is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of the unexpected ways in which the ordinary can become extraordinary. It reminds us that even the smallest artifacts can hold immense significance, bridging the gap between past and present. As its legend continues to grow, this dime will undoubtedly remain a cornerstone of numismatic lore, inspiring awe and fascination for generations to come. Top 2. The story of the 1937 U.S. dime is one that connects us to a moment in history where design, functionality, and the spirit of a nation converged into a small but significant piece of currency. To understand its full significance, we must delve into the backdrop of its creation, the artistry behind its design, the details of its minting process, and the legacy it has left for collectors and enthusiasts today. In 1937, the United States was emerging from the grip of the Great Depression. Though the economy was beginning to recover, the scars left by years of financial hardship were still fresh in the minds of millions. Every coin in circulation represented more than just monetary value. It was a tangible symbol of survival and hope in a nation rebuilding itself. Coins like the 1937 dime played a vital role in daily transactions, used for everything from groceries to movie tickets, making them an integral part of everyday life. The 1937 dime is a part of the Mercury dime series, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime. This design, introduced in 1916, was created by sculptor Adolf A. Weinman. Weinman's work is celebrated for its classical beauty and symbolism. The obverse of the dime features a portrait of Liberty wearing a winged cap, intended to symbolize freedom of thought. However, the design's resemblance to the Roman god Mercury earned it the popular nickname that endures to this day. On the reverse, an olive branch wrapped around a fasces represents peace and strength, a powerful message during a time when the world was teetering on the brink of another global conflict. By 1937, the Mercury dime had been in production for over 2 decades, and its design had become a familiar sight in American pockets. The dime was struck in 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint left its own distinct mark on the coins, with the Philadelphia dimes bearing no mint mark, and those from Denver and San Francisco marked with D and S, respectively. These small details have become crucial for collectors, as they differentiate the coins and influence their rarity and value. The composition of the 1937 dime, like others in the series, is 90% silver and 10% copper, a standard alloy for U.S. coins of the time. Measuring 17.9 millimeters in diameter and weighing 2.5 grams, the coin is a perfect blend of practicality and beauty. Its silver content alone makes it valuable, but for collectors, the real appeal lies in its historical significance and condition. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are highly sought after, with sharp details and lustrous surfaces that showcase the artistry of Weinman's design. For numismatists, the 1937 Mercury dime holds a special place in their collections. While not as rare as some earlier or era coins, it represents an era of American history defined by resilience and renewal. Collectors often seek out dimes from this year to complete their Mercury dime sets, and finding coins with high grades or full bands, an indication of a strong strike on the fasces on the reverse, adds another layer of excitement to the hunt. The value of a 1937 dime varies widely depending on its condition and mint mark. A well-worn example may only be worth its silver content, but a coin in mint state can fetch significantly higher prices. For instance, a 1937 S dime in excellent condition with full bands might sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. This makes the 1937 dime not only a piece of history but also an intriguing investment. As we reflect on the 1937 dime, it's important to consider the broader context of its creation. The Mercury dime series as a whole is a testament to the enduring power of artistic design in everyday objects. Adolf Weinmann's vision transformed a simple coin into a work of art, a legacy that continues to captivate collectors and historians alike. Each dime tells a story, not just of its time and place, but of the people who used it, saved it, and passed it down through generations. Imagine holding a 1937 dime in your hand. Its silver surface may be worn smooth from decades of use, or it might gleam as if freshly struck, preserved carefully by a collector. Either way, the coin carries with it a sense of connection to the past. It's a reminder of the resilience of the American people during challenging times, the craftsmanship of those who designed and minted it, and the enduring value of the smallest details. Today, the 1937 dime continues to inspire and fascinate. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious newcomer, exploring the history of this coin offers a glimpse into a world both familiar and distant. It's a story of artistry, utility, and the unexpected ways in which ordinary objects can become extraordinary treasures. Top 3. The 1965 United States one dime holds a fascinating story that intertwines with the rich history of the nation. This seemingly small coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a reflection of a time when the United States was navigating major societal and economic changes. If you've ever held a 1965 dime in your hand, you might not fully appreciate the significance of this coin. But today, I'm going to take you on a journey that will open your eyes to the rich history and remarkable value of this coin. So let's dive in. In 1965, the United States was in the midst of turbulent times. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and the country was embroiled in the Vietnam War, creating a climate of uncertainty. Meanwhile, the economy was undergoing a shift. The country's financial landscape was changing, and the government had to adapt to these new challenges. This shift in policy is where the 1965 dime comes into the picture. You see, 1965 was the year that the United States made a pivotal change in its coinage. Up until that time, the dime, along with many other coins, was made of silver. Silver was once the backbone of the American monetary system, but by the mid-1960s, the country was facing a growing silver shortage. The cost of producing coins was rising, and the nation's silver reserves were dwindling. Something had to change. Enter the Coinage Act of 1965. This act marked a major turning point in the history of American currency. For the first time in decades, the U.S. government decided to eliminate silver from most of its circulating coins. The dime, which had traditionally been 90% silver, was now minted using a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This was a significant shift, and it meant that the 1965 dime would be one of the first dimes in American history to be made without silver. It was a bold move, but it was one that reflected the times. The design of the 1965 dime also tells a unique story. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the iconic image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's likeness has graced the dime since 1946, the year after his death, in honor of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. The reverse, or back, of the coin features a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch symbolizes peace, and the oak branch stands for strength. This design, created by John R. Sinnock, is a powerful symbol of American values. The 1965 dime is often seen as a symbol of a changing America. With its new composition and updated production techniques, it marked the end of an era. But this coin wasn't just significant for its composition and design. It also held historical significance for collectors. By 1965, numismatics, or coin collecting, had already been a popular hobby for decades. Collectors were always on the lookout for coins that told a unique story or represented a shift in the country's history. The 1965 dime quickly gained attention from collectors, and many began to hold on to it as a piece of history. However, Not all 1965 dimes are created equal. As with any coin, some examples are rarer than others, and the rarity often drives the value of the coin. One key factor that affects the rarity of the 1965 dime is the condition of the coin. Most dimes from this era were in circulation for many years, meaning that they were subjected to wear and tear. Finding a 1965 dime in excellent condition can be a challenge, and coins that are well preserved or uncirculated tend to command higher prices. In addition to condition, the minting process also plays a role in the rarity of the 1965 dime. Like many other coins, the 1965 dime was minted at several different locations. The primary mints for dimes during this period were the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. While the 1965 dime was primarily produced at the Philadelphia Mint, some coins were also struck at the Denver Mint. The location of the minting can be important to collectors, as coins from certain mints may be rarer than others. Another fascinating aspect of the 1965 dime is the role of errors in its production. Minting errors can occur during the coin's production, resulting in rare and valuable varieties. For example, some 1965 dimes exhibit a rare error known as the double die variety. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has an error, resulting in a slightly doubled image on the coin. The double die 1965 dime is a highly sought-after variety among collectors, and its value can be significantly higher than that of a regular 1965 dime. As the years have gone by, the value of the 1965 dime has fluctuated. Initially, it was just another dime, circulating along with the other coins of the time. But as collectors began to recognize its historical significance and rarity, the 1965 dime started to gain value. Today, a well-preserved 1965 dime can be worth several dollars, and certain rare varieties can fetch even higher prices. The value of the coin is influenced by factors such as its condition, the mint where it was produced, and any errors or unique features it may have. For those who are passionate about numismatics, the 1965 dime remains an important part of American coinage. It's a symbol of a changing nation, a shift in economic policy, and a time of social and political upheaval. The coin serves as a reminder of the resilience of the United States and the ability of the country to adapt to new challenges. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coins, the 1965 dime offers a fascinating glimpse into a pivotal moment in American history. In conclusion, the 1965 USA 1 dime is much more than just a small, silverless coin. It's a piece of history that reflects a time of change in the United States. From the end of the silver era to the introduction of new coinage policies, the 1965 dime represents a turning point in the country's monetary system. For collectors, it holds a special appeal, both for its historical significance and its potential value. Whether you're holding one in your hand or studying it in a collection, the 1965 dime serves as a reminder of a fascinating chapter in American history, and for many, it's a valuable treasure. Top 4. When you think of U.S. coins, there are many that stand out. The iconic Lincoln cent, the powerful eagle on the quarter, and of course, the Roosevelt dime. But there's something uniquely special about the 1967 1 dime. A coin that sits at the crossroads of American history, design, and numismatic value. What makes this particular coin so captivating? How does it fit into the larger narrative of the nation's financial evolution? Let's take a step back in time and explore the remarkable story behind the 1967 dime. The year 1967 was a time of change and uncertainty in the United States. The country was entrenched in the Vietnam War, and the civil rights movement was in full swing. At the same time, the U.S. economy was experiencing shifts that would lay the groundwork for the future. These economic changes also had a direct impact on the U.S. coinage system. If you think of coins as simple tools of trade, you might not realize just how much they reflect the broader socio-political landscape of the time. The 1967 dime, though a simple piece of currency, represents one of the most significant turning points in U.S. minting history. In the mid-1960s, the United States was facing a silver shortage. Silver had been the primary material for coins for decades, but as the demand for silver surged internationally and the cost of producing coins increased, the government was left with a difficult decision. By 1965, The U.S. Treasury had decided to stop using silver in most of the nation's circulating coins. This decision had a profound impact on coins like the dime. The 1967 one dime would be a product of this transition, a coin born into a time of change in both the country's financial landscape and the world beyond. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1967 dime, let's take a moment to understand the broader context of the period. The 1960s was a turbulent decade for the U.S. The country was facing the pressure of international conflicts, social unrest, and an ever-changing economy. The civil rights movement was making huge strides, fighting for racial equality, while the Vietnam War stirred deep divisions at home. Meanwhile, the U.S. economy was beginning to feel the impact of inflation, with the cost of raw materials rising and the value of the dollar fluctuating. All of this was happening while the American government was looking for ways to streamline its production of coins. The shift away from silver was necessary for economic reasons, but it also had far-reaching implications. The Coinage Act of 1965 officially ended the use of silver in dimes, quarters, and half dollars for circulation, substituting silver with a copper-nickel alloy. As a result, the 1967 dime, like its 1965 counterparts, was composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This marked the beginning of a new era in U.S. coinage, one that would forever change the look and feel of coins that millions of Americans handle daily. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1967 one dime, as it is both visually striking and historically significant. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, you'll find the familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. This was the design that John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver at the U.S. Mint, had created in 1946, shortly after Roosevelt's passing. Roosevelt had been a beloved figure, especially for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. His image on the dime serves as a reminder of his legacy, a symbol of the resilience and strength of the American people during some of the most challenging periods in U.S. history. On the reverse of the coin, we see a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, a design that was also created by Sinnock. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch symbolizes peace, and the oak branch signifies strength. These elements combined create a powerful visual message of the nation's values: freedom, peace, and power. The reverse design has remained largely unchanged over the years, making it one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. Despite its beauty and historical significance, the 1967 dime is not particularly rare in terms of its general availability. However, there are still unique aspects of this coin that make it particularly intriguing to collectors. The minting process during this era was relatively standardized, with dimes produced at the Philadelphia Mint and later on at the Denver Mint. However, it's important to note that the mint mark, or lack thereof, can affect the coin's appeal to collectors. Dimes minted in Philadelphia typically do not have a mint mark, while those struck in Denver bear the distinctive D mint mark. This subtle difference can make a significant impact on the rarity and value of the coin, depending on the condition and the specific variety you're looking at. The production of the 1967 dime was influenced by the continued shift in the U.S. minting system after silver was removed from most coins. This shift led to some noticeable changes in the coins themselves, including a slightly thinner and lighter design, which resulted in dimes that were different in both appearance and sound from their predecessors. This change in composition made the 1967 dime an interesting transitional coin for collectors, as it marked the end of the silver era and the beginning of a new age for U.S. coinage. Although the 1967 dime was not considered particularly rare when it was first minted, its historical significance and its place in the broader story of U.S. coinage has helped it gain popularity among collectors. As with any collectible, the condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. Coins that are well preserved, especially those in uncirculated or near-mint condition, can fetch much higher prices than coins that have been worn down through years of circulation. The coin's value is also affected by factors such as any mint errors that may have occurred during production. Speaking of mint errors, the 1967 dime is not immune to these anomalies. One of the most interesting and sought-after varieties of the 1967 dime is the double die variety. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has an error that causes the image to be doubled. The result is a coin with a slightly blurred or offset design, making it highly attractive to collectors who specialize in mint errors. Finding a double-die 1967 dime is a rare occurrence, and when one is found, it can fetch a significant premium on the market. Over time, the value of the 1967 dime has increased, albeit modestly, especially in the case of well-preserved or error-struck examples. While it may not command the astronomical prices of some rarer coins, the 1967 dime still holds a place in the hearts of collectors and numismatists who value its historical significance and its role in the broader evolution of U.S. coinage. Today, a standard 1967 dime is worth only a few cents above its face value, but a coin in mint condition or with notable mint errors can be worth several dollars. As with any collectible, the true value of a 1967 dime is largely determined by the condition, rarity, and demand for that specific variety. In conclusion, the 1967 USA 1 dime is far more than just a piece of currency. It is a tangible link to a pivotal moment in American history. From the dramatic changes in coinage composition to the lasting design that honors Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 1967 dime is a coin that reflects the values and challenges of the time. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just starting to explore the world of numismatics, the 1967 dime offers a fascinating glimpse into the past and a valuable addition to any collection. Its unique place in the history of U.S. currency makes it not just a coin, but a piece of American heritage. Top 5. The year 1974 was one of those unique moments in American history when significant changes were happening in the background, but most people might not have even noticed it at the time. The 1970s were a time of cultural upheaval, with major societal shifts, political events, and economic challenges. But while the nation was navigating the complexities of these changes, something else was unfolding that would forever change the landscape of U.S. coinage. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that may seem simple on the surface, but is actually rich in history, meaning, and value. The 1974 United States 1 dime. When we hold a 1974 dime in our hands, it's easy to overlook the significance of such a small piece of currency. It's just a dime. After all, a coin that has graced the pockets and changed jars of millions of Americans for decades. But the 1974 dime, like so many others, represents far more than just a tool for trade. It represents a specific moment in time when the United States was in the midst of economic and social turbulence, and the minting process was being reshaped in ways that would have lasting effects on the nation's coinage. Let's set the scene. The 1970s were a decade marked by growing tension and uncertainty. The United States had just emerged from the tumultuous 1960s, a decade defined by the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and significant social unrest. Now, the 1970s were bringing their own set of challenges. The Watergate scandal rocked the political world, the nation was grappling with rising inflation, and the economy was facing stagflation, a term that describes the combination of stagnation and inflation. It was a time when the nation's finances were in flux, and people were worried about the future. But at the same time, the United States was also experiencing a cultural renaissance. Music, fashion, and the arts were flourishing. The country was continuing to evolve, despite the difficulties of the era. And through all of this, the U.S. Mint continued to operate, producing coins that were used by millions of people every day. The 1974 dime was one such coin, and like every coin, it was a reflection of its time. To understand the importance of the 1974 dime, we need to look at the major changes that had been occurring in U.S. coinage leading up to that year. As many of you probably know, the 1960s had brought about a significant shift in the composition of American coins. Prior to the mid-1960s, coins like the dime were made primarily of silver, a precious metal that had been used in U.S. currency for centuries. But as the price of silver began to rise, the U.S. government found it increasingly expensive to produce coins with significant amounts of silver. By 1965, the government had passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from most circulating coins, including the dime. The new dimes were made of a copper-nickel alloy, a material that was less expensive and more practical for mass production. By 1974, the switch to the copper-nickel alloy had been in place for nearly a decade. However, there was still a certain amount of sentimentality surrounding silver coins. Many collectors and numismatists lamented the loss of silver, and some still clung to the idea that silver coins held greater value and beauty. The 1974 dime, however, was firmly part of the new era of coinage. It was composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a composition that was stable and cost-effective for the U.S. Mint. This dime was a product of the modern minting process, and it would go on to serve as a symbol of the evolving economic landscape of the 1970s. The design of the 1974 dime is both simple and iconic. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, we find the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. This image, created by artist John R. Sinnock, had been used on the dime since 1946, the year after Roosevelt's death. Roosevelt had led the country through the Great Depression and much of World War II, and his image on the dime served as a lasting tribute to his leadership and legacy. The portrait was simple yet dignified, capturing the strength and determination of the man who had steered the country through some of its darkest times. On the reverse side of the coin, we find a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch symbolizes peace, and the oak branch stands for strength. This design, also created by Sinnock, is a powerful visual representation of the values that the United States holds dear. Together, these elements form a timeless emblem of American ideals. However, while the design remained unchanged, the minting process in 1974 had some notable differences. The 1974 dime was produced at the U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Like many other coins of the era, the dime was minted in massive quantities. This means that finding a 1974 dime today isn't particularly difficult, but there are still factors that can influence its value, especially for collectors who are looking for specific varieties or minting errors. Let's talk about minting errors for a moment, because they can be one of the most exciting aspects of numismatics. Mint errors are anomalies that occur during the production process, and they can make certain coins highly valuable. While the 1974 dime is not particularly known for rare mint errors, there are still some examples that collectors seek out. For example, there are instances where the dime has been struck off-center or with a double die, where the design appears to be slightly doubled due to an error in the die. These errors are relatively rare, and finding one can significantly increase the value of the coin. Of course, the overall condition of the coin is a major factor in its value as well. Most dimes from this era were circulated heavily, meaning they often show signs of wear and tear. A 1974 dime that has been kept in excellent condition or one that remains uncirculated will naturally command a higher price. Coins that are graded as MS, mint state, or PR, proof, tend to be the most valuable in the numismatic world, and a pristine 1974 dime could fetch several dollars on the open market. When it comes to the collector appeal of the 1974 dime, it's important to consider its place in the broader context of U.S. coinage. While it may not be the most rare or unique coin out there, the 1974 dime holds a certain charm for collectors because it is part of the larger story of U.S. currency during a transformative period in American history. The dime represents a time when the U.S. was adjusting to economic changes, technological advancements, and a new social order. For those who collect dimes, the 1974 coin offers an interesting snapshot of American life in the 1970s. It is a coin that reflects both the practical needs of the time and the enduring symbolism of Roosevelt's legacy. The dime's simple design, combined with the changing composition of coins during the period, makes it an appealing addition to any collection. In terms of value, the 1974 dime may not be worth a fortune on its own, but certain rare varieties and well-preserved examples can command attention from collectors. A standard 1974 dime in average condition is worth face value, just 10 cents. However, coins in exceptional condition, or those with notable mint errors, can fetch anywhere from a few dollars to more, depending on the rarity and demand. The value of a 1974 dime is not just in the coin itself, but in the story it tells. For collectors, it's a piece of history, a representation of an era that shaped the United States into what it is today. In conclusion, the 1974 USA 1 dime may seem like just another coin, but it's much more than that. It's a snapshot of a unique time in American history, a time of political change, economic challenges, and cultural evolution. The 1974 dime may not be rare or particularly valuable on its own, but it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors who recognize the historical significance of the coin. Whether you're holding it in your hand or adding it to your collection, the 1974 dime is a small yet significant part of America's numismatic heritage.